Good morning, you guys. So my hair is obviously wet. I told you I would do a blow dry tutorial, and I did one before and I used a boar brush, and I'm going to show you how to use a wire brush, which is what most of you have anyway, to blow dry your hair. So my hair is towel dried. Haven't put anything in it other than I put the detangler in. So I'm going to want some volume, some moisture, and lots of lift. So I'm going to use the Unite U oil. This is like a cocktail I like to make for people who want volume, and I have a few different ones that I like to do. This is Blow Set Lotion, good for blow drying, volumizes and smooths your hair. And then this is the Boost Thickening Cream, and this stuff you don't need a lot. Like, this whole thing will last me a year, easy. So that's all I'm putting together. I did 3 pumps of oil, a quarter of Blow Set, and that much Boost Cream, and I just work it into my hands. And I start at my ends. I always start at my ends, so the most product goes there. And then I slowly work my way up with whatever's left in my hands. And I don't rub it into my scalp, but I'll kind of just touch up here. And just get it all in there. Perfect. Okay. So I'm gonna section my hair off just because I think it's the least overwhelming when you're blow drying. I don't want to make a lot more work than is necessary, so I'm going to section off my mohawk area, which is this top portion, because this is where I'm going to want the most volume. So I always keep that separate. And then section off from like my ears and back. My favorite styling hot tool products are Babyliss. Which is the professional line of Conair. So I used to love Conair in high school, and now I know why. It was a good line. Babyliss though is for professionals, but they have like totally range in price, so they're not all super expensive. They range from like a $60 hair dryer up to a $300 hair dryer. So there's lots in between that you can find, and then they have curling irons, straighteners, everything. So this one that I've used for a while is the Volare, and this is the V2, which just means it's like a compact size. It's not like a full-size looking hair dryer, but this one has a lot of power. I think people don't realize that you don't have to have a super hot dryer. It just needs to blow out a lot of air. And make sure you always have an angled nozzle like this on there. If you don't, and you just have I can't pull it off. If you just have the circle, you're blowing your hair in all different directions. So what makes a good smooth blow dry and volumized is if it has a direction, because we're going to angle this in a certain way. Then the brush I'm using is just an ion brush you can get at Sally's Beauty Supply, Target, online, pretty much anywhere. Okay, so blow drying, I think the key to doing it often is to not get tired. So I like to keep my elbows down as much as possible. And then same thing with a boar brush. You're gonna wanna brush your brush close up to your head. You wanna feel a tug. If you don't feel a tug, you're not smoothing, you're not lifting, you might as well not be using your brush. There's really no point. So I'm gonna show you just this bottom section, and then we'll talk about it in a sec. Okay, so on your bottom layer, all you're really looking for is getting it smooth, maybe getting a little bit of lift right here, but that's really it. We're not focusing on volumizing yet. This next section will more incorporate volume. So if you noticed, I always had my dryer at an angle. It's kind of hard at the bottom just because of where it sits. But when I go ahead and do the side sections, especially if you have some frizz, baby hairs, some curls at the front, brush your brush up next to your face. Like literally brush it. Brush and pull forward. That's what we're going to do. So make sure you get it up there nice and tight. There's not as much tension with a wire brush, but the purpose of a wire brush isn't really to smooth necessarily. It's to create volume or create shape. It's metal, so just like an iron, it gets super, super hot. So it's just gonna form your hair into a curl or put a lot of volume up. So you're gonna use the brush to form your hair so it gets really, really hot so that you can activate all the products that you put in your hair to get volume. Okay, so I'm gonna do the middle section. Reach it. I'm also noticing I pick it up and I brush up my brush up in there and I kind of just place it, which I wasn't really taking into account, but just to get that lift, I'm pulling my hair all up. Okay, so last section. This is where you want to get the most volume. So a couple things to keep in mind. You're always brushing straight up, or you can over direct and push forward, and that's going to create the most volume, is to blow dry your hair forward with a dryer angled back, just like that. So then when you lay it down, it's laying down like this. All these little hairs close to your head is what creates lift, not your long hair, but all these little baby hairs that drive you crazy actually work in your favor when you're trying to create volume, because it pushes your hair up. So I do this mohawk section, like I said, and I take a pretty generous chunk in the back because I'm impatient. That's just how we do it. If you're noticing too, just as far as like handling goes, to make it easier, I'll put hair in my pinky when I'm trying to switch hands. So maybe try that. If you're like, I put the dryer down, I have to pick it back up, it's not working. Try putting it in your pinky. Ta-da! Okay, this has a lot of poof, so I can do my hair. I could either leave it like this and just put a little bit of dry shampoo and poof it out for the day, which I'll probably do, or I could curl it, or you know, anything. So if you are wanting a lot of volume and your hair isn't like super thick or super curly, I would go with a wire brush. If you need a lot of smoothing and to calm it down, I would go with a boar brush. So I'll do a tutorial on that one too. But if you have any questions, let me know. I can link the products that I used and all the tools I use. So yeah, give it a try. Don't get overwhelmed because it's really not as hard as you think. You just gotta have a plan and just keep going. It should take you like 15-ish minutes depending on how long your hair is.